Jules and Sacha awoke to the sound of crashing and clanging coming from downstairs. They rushed out of bed and ran down the stairs and were shocked at what they found. The Christmas tree had been tipped over. Ornaments were scattered everywhere, and worst of all, the incredible magical snowflake, dove, and star they had found on their tree earlier that week had all been taken. Just as the boys were about to panic, wondering who could have done such a thing, they noticed tiny footprints in the fallen pine needles near the tree. The tiny tracks led in a trail toward the closet at the end of the hall. You know, the same closet where the star ornament had shined its beam of light and showed them the hidden hallway? Jules and Sacha dashed to the closet and swung the door open, revealing the secret passageway behind the false back wall that the star had led them to yesterday. They grabbed their flashlights and Jules and Sacha exchanged determined nods before taking their first steps into the dark tunnel. But you know what? As each of them stuck their feet out to step into the tunnel, they quickly found out this wasn't a tunnel at all. It was a slide! Jules and Sacha both tumbled forward and they slid headfirst down the slide as it curved right, and then it curved left, and then it suddenly tilted downward and sent them flying straight down. The kids were flying down the slide so fast, it felt like they were going faster than a speeding car down a highway. And then they suddenly felt the slide curve sharply upwards as it turned into a jump, and it sent both boys flying off the end as they soared through the air. But it was so dark, they couldn't see hardly anything. They didn't know when or where they were gonna land. And just when they thought they'd never stop falling, they both felt themselves crash into a giant pile of something soft. Jules and Sacha lifted their heads and saw the stars and the moon shining up in the night sky. Were they outside? Where were they? As their vision adjusted, an incredible scene unfolded before their eyes. There was a shimmering winter wonderland in front of them, and they looked to the right, and they looked to the left, where they saw miles of trees and snow-capped mountains off in the distance. Snow was falling lightly but steadily around them, adding to the powdery drifts of snow on the ground. Surrounding the boys stood tall, majestic pine trees dotted with frosty white snow and glistening brightly, and on each branch sat a small, glowing light. And as they looked closer at each one of those small glowing lights, they realized that each light was a magical ornament, just like the 3 magic ornaments they had discovered on their own tree. And then all of a sudden, they saw a bunny hopping right up to them. But this wasn't just any bunny. It was a fluffy white bunny that stood upright and it started talking.
Welcome, Sacha and Jules. We've been waiting for you. My name is Peppermint, one of Santa's scouting bunnies. Did you have fun with the magical ornaments that have been hanging on your tree?
But before they could react, a massive sleigh burst through a snowbank behind Peppermint, and in rode Santa himself, with reins in his hands as he commanded a dozen mighty reindeer pulling the red velvet sleigh. And Santa wasted no time filling the boys in on what had been happening.
Hello, Jules and Sacha. Someone has stormed my workshop, home base for all North Pole operations, and they made off with all the gifts I had planned to give every child in the world. If we don't find who took them, Christmas will be canceled.
Well, who could have done such a horrible thing? Sacha asked. Do you think it's the same person who stole the magical ornaments from our tree? Said Jules.
Magical ornaments?
Santa said as he stroked his snowy beard.
I'm afraid there's only one person cruel enough to do this. It was the Ice Queen. Only she has magic powerful enough to do such a cruel thing. We traced her tiny footprints back to her castle just north of here.
And that's when Jules chimed in. So if we can find her and where she put all the gifts, can Christmas still happen?
And Santa replied with a ho 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 ho. Of course.
Jules and Sacha both looked at each other and knew They had to stop the Ice Queen, and they scrambled into Santa's sleigh as they took off in search of the Ice Queen, bound for yet another adventure. But that's a story for another day.